WACC versus ROIC. Is value created or destroyed? My goodness, what a fascinating topic. I'm going to go over a company which I own. I've owned it for several years. And to be honest, I consider this one of my luckier stock picks. I didn't have a firm understanding of WACC versus ROIC at the time and how important that can be for the long term of a business. Luckily, when I bought it, it was still in this like kind of growth stage kind of thing. And the picture today is much better than it was when I bought it. So I filled out a couple years beforehand just to kind of show you what I'm talking about. But let's fill out latest year. Go to EBIT, and then we need a tax rate. Oops. All right, I am typing good. Here we go. So this is what I want to point out about the ROIC. Right now it's at a 10, which is pretty good. Previously it was much lower than that. My justification at the time was, well, these revenues are much longer lasting because this is an aggregates company. We could debate that. I don't know. For the purposes of WACC versus ROIC, let's just look at the WACC. So this is our calculator for WACC. And a couple things to keep in mind. We're going to do the debt. Capital lease liabilities. That's another way to say capital lease liabilities is finance lease. The difference being with an operating lease liability, you are basically renting. You're not taking ownership of the asset at the end of the time period. Whereas with a finance lease, that is what you're doing. And so for the WACC, as we calculate it, we include capital lease liabilities. And so I want to look at interest expense. Is make sure that the interest expense is baked in here, and that it's not in a consolidated note somewhere else. So here's what they say on the finance leases. Accretion on finance leases is included in interest expense. So we could take a look at the income statement and just use the interest expense that's already in there. And that'll give us what we need for the cost of debt, which is what we're trying to figure out for WACC. So there we go. We can take the tax rate we calculated earlier, 19.6. For the beta of the stock, Dave and I like to use Dalmadoran. He has betas for different industries. This is an aggregates mining company, so we're going to put that there. The 10-year note, put that there. And we get a WACC of 8.86. So you can see when I bought the stock, I guess the WACC at the time was lower because interest rates were lower. So I haven't double checked that, but where things stand right now, the ROIC is higher than the WACC, but also notice how the weight of equity and debt is also much different. So I guess you could argue that this beta may be lower. I don't know. That would certainly change the WACC. So yeah, this is all alchemy at the end of the day, but that would be something I would probably check the beta and of the individual stock and see how that changes. But that gives a sense of longer term if the company is creating or destroying value. In this case, they are creating value. That could change depending on your inputs, but that's something to keep in mind. There's the beta, 0.91. Something to keep in mind, and particularly, I mean, to me, the cost of debt is really important because if a company is raising debt at a much higher rate than they are earning, then that's obviously unsustainable. And so that, to me, that's the big takeaway. But I mean, we could really get into the weeds. I'm going to stop there. Hopefully that helps. Peace.